Yo, what's up? Welcome to another build guide. So this is gonna be a guide for Boneshatter, a new skill that has been introduced in 3.15 Expedition League as a Juggernaut. So first of all, let's just take a look at the skill. So this is gonna be a quick and straight to the point guide. I'm gonna try to do that in this video because I have at least 5 other videos coming these days. So stay tuned for those and don't forget to subscribe, like my videos if you want, or join my Discord. So let's first start with explaining the skill. So Boneshatter is a melee skill that requires a mace, scepter, axe or staff. I picked staff for today's build because I wanted to be tankier, because I can actually get some block chance. So when you hit a target for the first time, you gain a trauma stack and you can just stack those depending on your attack speed. I'm not sure if there's any cap, but I have seen at least 14 stacks, sometimes 15 stacks if I can stand still and burst the boss. That's what you are gonna see in Sirus clip. He will just die in 5 seconds, which is ridiculous as a Juggernaut. So expect a nerf maybe in 3.16. So I highly recommend you to try this build if you are interested. So you can just stack those traumas depending on your attack speed, but once you get a trauma, you actually also hurt yourself as physical damage. That's why we are playing with a Juggernaut, because my character right now has 90% a capped physical damage reduction, so I don't actually hit myself at all. I don't even notice that damage. And the character also has a huge regeneration. You can safely AFK in Chimera's fog phase, and there is also a boss damage modifier in the map. So this character is super tanky and deals ridiculous amount of damage. So totally unethical build. So we want attack speed, physical damage, impale, because this is an impale build. So those are the stats that boost our character. Also a crit build, so crit strike chance and crit multiplier. We also have some decent block chance. I wanted to convert that with 2 glancing blows on the keystone, the keystone on the talent tree. So I can have a lot more mitigation, because I don't have much block spell chance. So I wanted to double that and get some spell mitigation instead of the 10% block. I right now have only 20% spell block as a mitigation, obviously thanks to glancing blows, but my attack block is actually kept. So plus endurance charges, armor, lots of stuff. So this character actually takes no physical damage at all, super tanky against physical damage. And we can safely use an Abyssus helmet. You won't even notice it because this character is so much tanky against physical damage. So we can actually get some decent damage thanks to physical damage to attacks and melee crit multiplier. The enchant that you want is obviously Boneshatter has 24% chance to grant +1 trauma. So you want to stack those traumas faster. So a higher attack speed and this kind of enchant actually works for that. So the weapon choice for this build, I paid for a Kulemak. It was like 4 or 5 Exile, but you actually have to camp for these staves, because Can of Kulemak is a drop from Katarina boss, so you cannot actually find a good one all the time. So you just want a high physical damage roll with a attack speed. And I also picked an Impale chance, so I can cap my Impale easier. If you want to invest in further, a double damage or any good suffix like a crit multiplier while near a boss, unique enemy, what is that called, or maybe a crit chance. I'm not sure what else you can get. So the most important stuff is a high physical DPS stuff, and maybe with impale chance. If you can do that, you can also play with rare staves because they are way more easy to find, let's say, because Kulemax doesn't exist that much on the market. So before playing this build, I highly suggest you to find a staff first or camp for a Kulemak. Once you have the weapon, you can just finish up the build, because the other pieces are gonna be way more easier. So a good high physical stuff, maybe with impale chance, because impale support actually got nerfed hard. That's why I am not using that. If you cannot find a stuff with impale chance, maybe you can play with impale support instead. That's not end of the world. Maybe you lose a little DPS, but this character deals so much single target damage. Maybe you won't even notice it in the end. So let's explain the rest of the gear. An astral plate, because it provides armor and resistances obviously, and lots of people craft these, so easy to find. I wanted to have 0 mana cost, so I can reserve a lot of mana. My character had something like 20 mana because I don't use much mana at all, because Boneshatter is already free thanks to a chest with Warlord Influence, -15 to total mana cost for socketed attacks. After that, obviously depending on your budget, add attack crit or additional curse. If you have the budget, obviously add all the 3 modifiers. So the curses that we are using are obviously Vulnerability and Assassin's Mark. Because this is a crit build, Attack Save Crit Strike Chance also works good for this build. So glows, this is where I get my Vulnerability curse. You don't need this glows, but it is more efficient in my opinion. But these can go up in prices. Because other builds also use these kind of glows. So Vulnerability Curse on a Hands of High Templar. If you have the budget, add attack crit or attack speed, depending on which one is cheaper, or depending on your budget, let's say. You can also get Vulnerability Curse on a ring, which is way more cheaper. So you can also do that. Do not try to get a Hands of High Templar if you have a lower budget maybe. So just get a ring instead, because you can safely do that. If you don't want to use an Hands of the High Templar, just use a maybe rare glows, maybe a spike glows with also a melee damage on a Warlord Influence, or maybe with attack speed, life, those kind of good stats. So you can also go with a rare glows instead, or even a Tomb Fist with a corruption if you want. Also put a murder sigil, you get some intimidate chance. You can also do that. So there are lots of glows options actually. But because we are a Juggernaut, I wanted to craft something so we can be tankier. This is this is a luxury item. Normally you don't need endurance charge, obviously, because this character is already very tanky. But because I am also using endurance charge on melee stun gem on my main 6-link, endurance charge also provides me decent DPS. That's why in the end I crafted something with endurance charge +1 and also a tailwind. So make sure you use an Awakener orb, so you can craft something like this. If you want to get something for cheaper, just put tailwind or endurance charge depending on what you want. But in the end, crafting something like this actually helps a lot for the DPS. And that's pretty much it. Nothing else to explain on this one. Amulet, because this is a crit build, obviously crit multiplier. Life, obviously, if you still need maybe dexterity or intelligence, this is a good way to get that. So get a base, depending on the attributes that you want. And maybe some flat physical damage or accuracy if you miss that. So rings and amulet is a good way to get some accuracy if your character still misses that. Otherwise just put life, crit multiplier and physical damage to attacks, or a resistances if you still need. Rings, again, if you still need accuracy, put that. Steel rings are good to get some additional DPS. Flat physical damage to attacks, obviously, as a prefix also helps. Life, resistances, and this is where you will also get a curse, Assassin's Mark. If you don't have a vulnerability curse glows, also get your other ring with vulnerability. You can, by the way, also put accuracy on a rare glows. So those are the places that you can get accuracy and curse. So make sure you fix that accuracy and curse problems on your rings and glows. So the combination can change, because I had Hands of High Templar. Maybe you want to play with a rare glows, so you can put that vulnerability on a ring instead, alright? So fix that, alright? Don't make any mistakes. Finally, a belt, obviously Rice Data Coil, because it is good for physical attack builds. More maximum physical attack damage, less minimum physical attack damage. So you want the less minimum roll, the lowest, because it actually lowers our lower value DPS, lower hits, minimum hits. But get a belt with highest, more maximum roll, because that will actually increase our maximum hits. Because damage has actually a range in this game, so you can sometimes deal less damage, sometimes deal more damage, because each skill has a damage gap, or whatever it is called. Sometimes you will deal 500k damage, sometimes you will deal 600k damage. So it will just increase those more rolls, let's say, but lowers the less rolls. That's why you need to get something with a good more roll on the belt and lower less value, alright? And I believe that's pretty much it about the gear. Let's also take a look at the talent tree real quick. Maybe I'll show you a couple of stuff, alright? This is our Juggernaut, obviously. Let's first show that. Unstoppable, stun immune. Action speed cannot be modified to below base value. This means that you cannot actually get frozen also. Most people don't know this. So this character is also frozen, freeze immune. So so you don't need a flask or whatever. So very good, a lot of movement speed also, very nice. Unflinching, this is how you can get endurance charges easier, +1 endurance charges also. Unrelenting, per endurance charge lots of bonuses. You can also get some decent chaos resistances depending on how many endurance charges you have, also more mitigation. And finally, Unbreakable, regenerate, reduce damage taken, armor received from body armor is doubled. We are using an astral plate, so that will also help. Lot of regeneration depending on the physical damage you prevented. So because this character has lots of physical mitigation, as you can see, 90% a capped physical damage reduction. But that's what Path of Building shows. Maybe this is wrong in game because armor doesn't get calculated like this in the game. So maybe we have lower physical damage reduction depending on what boss you are fighting. But in the end, depending on the damage, physical damage we prevent, we sometimes regenerate life. That's why this character is very tanky and can easily AFK tank, Chimera, Fog, or whatever you can think of. So a Thread of Hope with large ring. So we can get these. Art of the Gladiator, attack speed, accuracy, very good for this build. Panopticon, this definitely needs to get nerfed. I'm still not sure why they didn't nerf this in 3.15, because this is simply broken, provides millions of DPS on every build, because this simply buffs the totems effects. The totems are obviously granting us more melee physical damage with Ancestral Warchief, and a lot of attack speed from Ancestral Protector, and even a Phantasmal grants even more effect. So let's just check this Ancestral Protector here, how much DPS it grants us. You can see that we lost almost all of our DPS. So totems are simply broken in this game, and they still haven't nerfed this. Maybe a nerf will come for this notable, I'm not sure, but this is simply broken. And a Swift Scavenging, so I can keep my Impale chance. If you have a lower Impale chance, depending on your stuff, maybe you can also get this here, 5% chance. So maybe you need to go like this. So make sure that you have at least 90% Impale, or use an Impale support, maybe, or also get this Harpooner, because I don't have this actually, and this provides 30% Impale chance. So if you have a different stuff, make sure that you get this area, alright? Make sure that you have good Impale chance, because my character, I believe, has a capped, 100% Impale chance, because I have a Kulamak with Impale. So that helped me a lot. That's about the Thread of Hope. Let's check the Watcher's Eye. Impale additional hit, obviously the best for Impale builds. I also got something with Intimidate. This is a little luxury upgrade, but obviously provides some DPS. So you make sure that you also picked here Intimidate. So that will also increase our DPS, but the main stuff that you want is obviously Impale lasts 2 additional hits, which is very cheap in Expedition League, because most people do not even play physical attack builds these days, because they think that they are weak, but people just don't know how to play these kind of builds unless someone shoots a video. That's how the game, that's how the meta is chosen right now. Stupid. Makes no sense at all. Transcendent Flash, lots of crit multiplier per unallocated strength. So I haven't used this side of the tree, that's why there are lots of unallocated strength notables here. That's why this jewel actually provides, where's that? 56 crit multiplier, huge crit multiplier. Obviously we pick endurance charges. And finally a cluster jewel, only one large. So the main thing that you want is obviously Overlord, because this is a stuff build, so you can get a free Fortify. Fortify obviously reduces the damage taken from hits, so our character is actually way more tankier thanks to this. So make sure you put Overlord, and depending on your budget, start adding Martial Prowess, that is very good, to also keep your accuracy if you still need that, or attack speed obviously. If you don't need those, if your accuracy is kept, you can also put weight advantage, double damage chance, and lots of hit damage. If you have the budget, obviously put all of them, because these jewels are actually very expensive. You can also craft these on your own. Maybe get a 2 modifier one and slam, augment speed. Yes, that is expensive, but that is how these are crafted for cheaper. Because people try to sell these for 20 exalt, but normally the cost is under 10 exalt. Because people don't know how to do that. So you can also craft that. Just check POE database, check the tags. Be smart. Maybe get Harvest Craft, get that augment, and maybe you can do that if you want to min-max the character. Because this is the best outcome that I got actually. So for mediums, obviously Pressure Point for double damage. because I want attack speed so I can get more trauma stacks, quick getaway, attack speed, and crit strike chance. For this one, pressure point, skull breaker, that also works. Crit multiplier is good. Also, if you lower the enemy stun threshold, you can stun bosses and game bosses easier, because sometimes with a couple of hits you cannot stun Shaper, but sometimes you just get stunned. So it depends on the double damage and crits, I believe. So if you want to stun those bosses more reliably, but obviously I didn't try to stun everything. Alright, this is not a full stun build, but we still stun bosses, you know. Sometimes Uber Elder, Shaper, those bosses can also get stunned. So if you want to maybe stun more often, maybe get more skull breakers or get more stun points on the talent tree. I haven't do that, you know, I haven't done that. I am not even sure where they are because I didn't try to do that, you know. Let's see, what's this? Mace Scepter, not this one. I believe there's something on the talent tree, but I cannot find it right now. Maybe this? Yes, Stun Mastery. 10% reduce enemy stun threshold, double the stun duration. Maybe, I'm not sure, maybe you can get this if you want, but this is not a full stun build, you know. But maybe you can just tinker with the talent tree and make maybe even a better talent tree. Because this version, as far as I check, no one plays this. There are different versions on the POE Ninja, so this is a little different version, which worked out pretty well. Kills bosses in a couple of seconds, ridiculous damage, tank character. I'm not sure, but maybe it will get nerfed. I'm not sure. And for the rare jewels, finally, obviously crit multiplier, because this is also a two-handed build. Two-handed crit multiplier, melee crit multiplier, global crit multiplier. They all work for this build. Obviously, you also want life. If you still maybe need accuracy, you can also get accuracy. If you don't need, obviously go and start putting crit multiplier again, life. Attack speed is a very good stat for this build, because the higher the attack speed, the higher the trauma stacks that you can stack. So this is, I believe, the highest trauma stacks I have seen. Maybe if you have a higher stack, because you can do that, maybe you can have more trauma stacks, even more DPS. The path of healing, by the way, isn't finished, I believe, because I am sure that I have more DPS. Maybe I didn't put Berserk yet. No, it is here. You can just generate rage with the usual tactic. Chain hook, obviously. There's that life tap, so it is free. Level 1 is enough, and the faster attacks. On a second weapon slot, obviously, you want the weapon swap before the boss, and use your chain hook to Hydrosphere on a level 1, so we don't have any intelligence issues. Also put increased duration, so it will last longer, so you don't need to cast it twice. So just use some fast one-handed weapons on your second weapon slot before a big boss. Weapon swap, put Hydrosphere, obviously, chain hook to the Hydrosphere, wait until you get 50 rage, weapon swap, go for the boss, put your totems, drink your flasks, press Berserk. The boss is gonna die in a couple of seconds. That's how you want to do that. Let's maybe explain a couple of stuff here if there are anything different, maybe. Because we have two separate 6 links. First of all, you don't need 2 6 links, but if you have, you can do a stupid setup like this to increase that Ancestral Protector buff even more, also the Berserk. So Ancestral Protector with Phantasmal also have a better attack speed buff. That's why also using an Enhance here boosts that value. Plus Berserk also has attack damage on the quality, so Enhance again boosts that. So a single Enhance here provides millions of DPS. Also Empower also provides some DPS. Empower isn't needed, so you can also play with a 5 link item. But this needs to be your weapon, because our chest is providing minus 15 mana cost. That's why you need to put your Boneshatter in your body armor. So your weapon in the end can also be a 5 link if you want. Maim also provides some DPS. So this is the setup. And also Blood Rage, I forgot that. Even more attack speed from the quality thanks to Enhance. So this is a setup that I made to get some good DPS. We also have Val Ancestral Warchief, so yeah, this is actually wrong. This needs to be something like this. Just put your Val also if you have the cooldown ready, because it's a Val skill. So even more DPS, and also thanks to Panopticon, lots of buff effect from totems, which is ridiculous. Molten Shell, obviously, because we have a lot of armor, so we can get some good absorption. You can put Molten Shell on your left mouse button, because it is an instant skill. So you don't need to even worry about that. It will just cast itself automatically while you are moving around. And for buffs, obviously Dread Banner for Impale. Enlighten. Yeah, you need to have, yeah, a level 4 Enlighten, I believe, but I believe I also have a Precision. Yeah. You can play with a level 3 Enlighten because level 4 Enlighten is very expensive right now. So you can also do, where's that? A level 3 Enlighten, Precision, a lower level Precision, and bam, fixed. You don't even need a 4 level Enlighten, alright? A Divergent one provides some damage, which is not super needed. So this is just maybe min-max. So a level 3 Enlighten also works with a lower level Precision. Try it for more melee, more physical damage, obviously. Finally, Flesh and Stone. We want to be on Sand Stance while mapping, so it will provide nearby enemies blind. So we are gonna be tankier. On bosses, press it. Make sure that Flesh and Stone is on your first skill bar. So press it so it becomes Blood Stance. So you can get some decent amount of damage while fighting bosses. That's it. I'm not gonna even talk about Pantheons, just use whatever you want. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, join my Discord if you want. You can also support me on Patreon for only like a couple of dollars. And thanks for that if you do that. There are lots of other guides coming these days. I will just put lots of videos these days, alright? So don't forget those. So subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.